Many people may remember GOG-218, which was, and ICON-7, which were prospective randomized phase 3 trials that were looking at the addition of bevacizumab to chemotherapy. And both those trials basically showed that there was a statistically significant improvement in progression-free survival, and that has around the world has gained regulatory approval in most countries, if not in for all comers, maybe even in subgroups, for instance, patients with high risk. So IMagyn050 or GOG-3015 was a phase 3 trial that was looking at that same concept, but adding atezolizumab. So this was a phase 3 trial that enrolled over 1,000, almost 1,500 patients that were randomized to this paclitaxel carboplatin bev, followed by bev, or followed by bev and atezo. So the concept is obviously trying to capitalize on the potential synergism that happens between VEGF in the tumor microenvironment, and it being providing an immunosuppressive type of effect. And so the idea was that maybe if we added a immune checkpoint inhibitor to that, we would actually accelerate the long-term survivorship. The trial was well done, well conducted. The problem was it just didn't work. We'd learned back in July through a press release that the trial did not meet its primary endpoint. And so we were all anxiously awaiting the outcome of this presentation to make it to be able to see the data. So it was interesting. If you looked at the data carefully, you could see that the curves are relatively overlapping. There's a slight difference in between the two arms, but nothing statistically significant. And they had done the trial with the intent of potentially looking at a subgroup where they were where there looked to be a signal for for PD-L1 expression, to see whether or not this could actually highlight a group of patients that would benefit. Now, it looked like it was trending that way, in that depending on how they defined what was considered PD-L1 positive, and they looked at several different parameters for that. But because of the multiplicity that was used in the doing multiple analyses of this sample size, that could not be called statistically significant. But it did raise a lot of people's eyebrows to say, well, wait a minute. Maybe if they had actually designed this statistically in a different way, it would have been a positive trial. And so, again, that's what happens with a lot of phase 3s, is that the subgroups generate a lot of hypotheses to be tested further. And the success for doing that hasn't been so great. But it does raise the question as to whether or not we can find a reliable predictive biomarker for immune checkpoint inhibitors in ovarian cancer. It's just been a very tough battle.